As you can probably tell by the title of this video, I'm making this video in order to explain why I believe content creators might have a benefit from uploading both to YouTube and DTube simultaneously. Though it is worth noting that this video is going to both YouTube and DTube, so if you're watching this on DTube, keep in mind that this is more of an intro to DTube than it is something more in depth. Anyway, DTube is a video platform sharing service which is touting itself as a crypto-based alternative to standard platforms like YouTube. So what is DTube? Is it centralized? Well, I might actually ruffle a lot of feathers here, but in the short answer, it's a centralized service built upon two decentralized services. The long answer, however, sheds a lot more light on this. You see, the file sharing portion of DTube relies on what is known as IPFS, or Interplanetary File System, which is a decentralized service that acts somewhat similar to BitTorrent. Side note, if you're not familiar with these systems, you might be thinking that BitTorrent is illegal. It's illegal to upload or download content that you don't own or have permission to do so from the copyright owner. However, there are also plenty of legal things to do with BitTorrent and similar services. IPFS is the same way, so you're fine uploading videos that you own or watching videos that others created and uploaded. Anyway, so the content native to DTube is actually uploaded through IPFS, which is decentralized, and then when you go to the DTube website, it pulls the video from IPFS and streams it to your web browser. Pretty similarly, the reward system, the DTube token, is actually a full-blown cryptocurrency. So the DTube site is fairly centralized, which displays files from a decentralized service and funnels rewards from another decentralized service. In the background, you should see a graph that's visualizing all this. It's not really required that you understand this before beginning, but it might come in handy later on as you try and understand the system better. So, with the system glossed over, and remember that's a pretty basic oversimplification of everything, let's talk about the reward system specifically. So, in most cases, people earn money on video sharing services by selling ads on their content or by charging subscriptions to access that content. DTube has neither unless you're using some sort of third-party host, which I will actually delve into in the tutorial section of this video. So how is money made? Well, money is made through the DTube token. Say you buy or are rewarded with tokens and you now have 2% of the total network. Now let's say 100 tokens are created daily. That means that through the use of voting points, you were able to take that 2% of the network, which is those two tokens, and direct where they end up. Again, just like the system overview, it's really oversimplified, but it is the basic concept here. This very much resembles shares in a company, where as a shareholder you get a certain portion of the company, allowing you to get dividend payments and vote on what the company does, hopefully for the benefit of both you and the company itself. Now, I'm going to discuss a few topics which are the state that DTube is in right now. By the title of the video, you can probably extract the fact that I believe DTube has potential, so it may seem odd that I begin discussing with a few negatives. That said, I'd like to paint you a portrait of the system so that you can make your own informed decision and know what you are getting into if you actually choose to join, which I would recommend. First off, like many decentralized systems, there are oftentimes whales who have consolidated a lot of power. You'll probably run into situations where people have thousands or tens of thousands times as much stake in the network as you have, either because they joined early or invested a lot of money. That said, I want to make it clear that that does not necessarily mean they are bad or greedy people by default. Outside of DTube, let's take Bill Gates for example. He certainly has a lot of money and power, much more than a peasant such as you or I have, and I know there's a lot of politics surrounding this kind of stuff, but regardless, if you look at his actions and his charity work, you can probably conclude, as I have, that he's just another person who wishes the best for the world. Many whales who invested early or invest a lot in the DTube system are probably there because they believe in it and want to see it succeed and grow, but it is worth noting that there is a power differential when you enter a system like this. Secondly, still on the topic rewards, you usually either need to earn or invest into the system in order to have voting power. Say you had 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, started simultaneously posting on YouTube and DTube, and furthermore, let's say 10,000 people from YouTube joined and watched your videos on DTube. Anybody, even people who have not registered, would be able to view the video in their browser by going to the web page. However, anybody who just registered on DTube would likely have nothing in terms of impact unless they invested into the system using time and or money. In that way, DTube has a bit of an entry barrier. Third, I'd like to bring up the topic that DTube is kind of starving for creators. As a new system built upon the technology that I just explained, a lot of creators are like me who are creating content about similar things, because by nature, we're interested in technology like this, therefore we're drawn to the platform. In that sense, the community has a long way to grow before it becomes a lot more robust, but on the other side of the coin, it does give an opportunity for individuals who talk about other things to potentially dominate their niche by joining early and focusing on something that's kind of lacking in the community right now. And finally, with this system being crypto and an emerging system, and any investments or earnings are volatile. They could easily go up or down, which is something you do need to be aware of. All this said, however, there are actually some more beneficial points that I'd like to bring up. First of all, with the system being built upon two decentralized systems, it's hard to take down or control. Even though a video could be removed from the website, it would still be on IPFS and the tokens would still be in the hands of their owner. Now, of course, with any decentralized system, you're still held to moral and legal standards, so if, say for example, you use this system to infringe on another's copyrights by uploading a movie that you don't own, you can just as easily face legal action such as a lawsuit as you could on YouTube. But the fact that it's harder to control or censor is beneficial to you if you're remaining within legal and ethical standards. Secondly, the community has a bit of a different feel to it. For example, a DMCA takedown notice could be filed against the website, though not the IPFS system or the token, which could result in a video being removed from the website. That said, however, an obviously false or fraudulent DMCA notice can be legally ignored, which would likely be the case on DTube. Say, take for example the Last of Us game where people were discussing leaked content completely within fair use, but getting DMCA takedown notices anyway. With obvious cases, YouTube would have been legally safe whether they took down the video or told Sony that they were not going to take down the video unless a court said otherwise. While YouTube opted to temporarily take them down, until Sony was forced to either drop the case or enter a legal battle, I doubt DTube would have done the same in any circumstance, and even if they did remove the video, again, the video would still be available on IPFS even though it wasn't available on the site. So, now I guess with all this comes the question, do I believe DTube will succeed? Well, I mean, I doubt it's going to be replacing YouTube anytime soon, but I do believe that it has a decent chance to grow into something good and find its own little portion of the market. So, I've talked about this long enough, let's get into the tutorial portion of this video. That said, if you're interested in learning more, you can always go to the FAQ portion of the DTube site, read the white paper, or check out other tutorials online. They could probably explain the system much better than I have. I'm just doing this as sort of an overview of the system to get you started. So, the first step of the tutorial is to go to D.Tube and register an account. The process should be fairly straightforward. Now you're going to want to back up your keys. Side note, I actually just did a video on encryption. You might want to encrypt your keys and then store them on your PC, on cloud storage, and on a local physical backup. Now you want to create a custom key, which has some permissions like posting, upvoting, and claiming rewards, but is not capable of doing things like sending your rewards to other individuals. The process of creating a custom key should be fairly straightforward once you actually get there. And since you use your key as a password, your custom key should minimize the damage that an individual can do if they get a hold of the key that you're using. Finish customizing your account, and then you are all registered and ready to start posting. It's actually pretty quick and easy. Now, if you plan to, which you may end up needing to do, now is the time to make an investment into the network. I started out without investing anything and posted a few videos. Some of the videos actually got a large amount of votes from others. However, since I had so little voting power, I never got any rewards and eventually ran out of bandwidth and voting power that my account started with. Afterwards, I made a $7 investment and have had no issues since. So investing might be something to consider, but that's completely up to you, and you're always set to start out without and see where it goes from there. Now, it's actually time to upload the title of the video so that you can have your cake and eat it too, and this is where this comes into play. First of all, upload your content to YouTube normally and copy that link. Now, log into DTube, create a new video, choose third party and paste in the YouTube link. Next, optionally, you can create a second video source and upload the video to IPFS as well, post the video, and voila, it's online. With this setup, anybody who views your video will play it from YouTube embedded into the DTube page, and this will provide views as well as ad revenue, if applicable, as if they played it on YouTube, because, well, they did, and you will also get DTube rewards as well. Then, say your video goes down on YouTube, let's use the Last of Us game fraudulent copyright claims as an example again. The IPF version of your video will still be available to anyone viewing it on the DTube site. And hey, never rule out the Streisand effect on such videos if they go down on YouTube but are available elsewhere. Now, of course, all this takes time, and I would also actually recommend that you take even more time to interact with commenters and other DTube creators to become part of the community instead of just posting and leaving. That said, this follows the old adage of never leave all your eggs in one basket, especially since you don't control the main basket that is YouTube. In this case, at the cost of your time and any potential investments into the system, you have the benefit of having your content available even if it's removed from YouTube, as well as the benefits of DTube rewards and getting DTube rewards and YouTube rewards simultaneously from people who watch on DTube. Finally, I know there's a bit of an entry curve to deal with, but if you do consider using DTube in this way, there is a community that's very welcoming. Actually, at the time of posting, the user TibFox is running an event where if you introduce yourself as an original content creator on DTube, he will actually send you a few DTC and upvotes to get you started. There's also an active Discord which will help you answer all questions if you need them. And finally, you can always get in contact with me on Twitter or something if you wanted any help. I hope this video helped. Thanks for watching.